Whether it makes you laugh, cry, scream, or fly, there's a song for every emotion. We're Mike and Priya, and we talk about the songs that make up the soundtrack to your life, because life is in the lyrics. Hey everyone, it's Mike.
And it's Priya, and thanks for tuning in to our little podcast about music and the impact it has on our lives.
Life is in the lyrics.
It is. It's in the lyrics, bitches.
You know what else is in the lyrics? Or no, it's not really in the lyrics, but it's music related. So a couple of weeks ago, we did an episode on the Grammys and our predictions for Song of the Year.
Song of the Year.
And at the time of recording, we are, around 8 or 9 hours? No, probably a little bit more than that from the Grammys happening. Oh, no, because that happened Saturday and today's Wednesday.
A few days ago,
yeah. No, today's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, never mind. Forget about that.
All right.
So at the time...
He's had 2 sips of wine, folks.
Yeah,
2
it's true.
sips. And he has no idea what day of the week it is.
It's been a long day, okay? I'm just saying, it's budget time. I'm forecasting. My brain is fried.
I'm already bored.
Okay. So I won't talk about that.
No, let's not talk about budgets.
Let's talk about the Grammy results.
Yes.
Because we had some pretty, I think, on-the-nose predictions.
We did. Did we? Did we? I mean, I think you were suggesting that Kendrick might win for Song of the Year with his song Not Like Us. And I agreed with you, but I was a little hesitant to say that was
Were you taken aback?
I was, because I just thought, like, really, are the Grammys going to award a song that is so
divisive?
So divisive, and it just, some of the lyrics are
insensitive,
really
kind of criminal,
creepy a little bit, like calling somebody a pedophile. But they did.
They did.
They sure did. And that room erupted.
Oh, did it?
When he won. I think that was actually...
Were you erupting as well?
I was more like, what
Seriously?
the fuck? I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was really surprised.
So I remember our predictions were Billie Eilish. And I said something snarky about, the Americans like to be consistent.
Yes,
blah,
you
blah,
did
blah.
say that.
And the other was...
And that's what a lot of people were saying, too, is that she's kind of tried, tested, and true. The Grammys love her. So the odds were on her winning, but didn't go her way.
Sorry, what?
She didn't pick up any Grammys that
night.
No. Her and Taylor locked out.
Yep.
But actually, which was kind of nice, Sabrina Carpenter won an award. Chapel
She
Roan
won many.
Won.
Didn't she win 3 or something?
Well, not in the broadcast thing.
Oh,
so I don't.
Okay.
I only know what I saw in the actual award show. So those 2 won. Of course, Beyonce came away a big winner. She won Album of the Year for the first time and is now the most decorated Grammy-winning artist. I think she has something like 99 nominations. Well, anyways, it's insane. And like also the most wins ever. And then Kendrick won. So really out of the category, there were 5 people who did come away with awards. And only Shabuzi, Taylor, and Billie did not.
Yeah.
So kind of nice in a way.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, Taylor, she got
She's
plenty. Not hurting.
Yeah.
She's fine coming off of her $2 billion earning tour.
No, I'm not.
Nobody feels bad.
I'm not feeling bad for her.
No.
Anyways, other than that, how are you doing? How's your little illness recovery happening?
Yeah, I'm okay. So I went to the doctor today for unrelated thing, for just a kind of a checkup. Yeah, you gently sip your wine there. I love how you're doing that.
Trying not to hit the mic.
And over the mic. As I was saying, before I had to pause for coughing fit number 1 of many. So I had my doctor's appointment today. And
good.
Then I told her, well, I'm here for XYZ, but in the meantime, I also have this stupid cough that is sticking around. So she checked me out and
Did she touch you?
She did. She said, can I...
Turn your head and cough?
Do you mind if I go under your shirt? And I was like...
Did she do it in that tone?
No, I heard it in that tone.
Oh, okay.
And I said, baby, it'll be the most action I've had in months. And then she got creeped out and stepped away. No. So she checked me out. She was listening. And then she goes, so we've had a lot of cases of walking pneumonia. They've calmed down now, but... I'm just going to have you go for a chest x-ray just in case that's what you're dealing with. And I'm like, really? Walking pneumonia?
You don't sound that
I'm not
sick.
congested though at all.
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't a thing of congestion. It was just, well, it's congestion, but in my chest, like not. Ugh. Anyway, so I'm doing fine. I'm just ready for this cough to be gone. And
Well, you better be, because this Saturday.
it's karaoke. Don't listen. Nothing is gonna stop me from karaoke.
Yeah.
If I have to eat a whole thing of raw ginger,
You'll do it.
and raw garlic, I will do it.
Eat an onion.
I will do all of
I'm
that.
not doing any duets with you.
I will do
You're
all of
doing
that. And I will be in prime form.
Yeah.
For Saturday.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. Well, that's good because your karaoke nights are epic.
They sure are. How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Aside from your boring budget, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing well. We've had a busy time, lots of socializing. My husband's friend was visiting for the weekend, another philosopher.
Okay.
Riveting evenings, let me tell you. I'm kidding.
How much do you get involved in those conversations?
I don't.
Okay.
I mean, it's actually really interesting. So this friend of that came to stay over is a grad school friend of Dawn. So they went to grad school together. They were also roommates together.
Oh, fun.
And so they have a long relationship.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture Don in his university years.
I know.
With a roommate and like...
He had hair,
Well,
curly
not
brown
that.
hair.
I'm like, really? He had curly hair?
Yeah, curly brown hair.
I need to see photos of this.
Yeah, okay.
But just imagining like while everybody else is out partying, like him and his roommate are just kind of talking philosophy.
No, Don was actually, he is. He's a lot of fun.
I'm not saying he's
You've
not fun.
seen it. He comes to your karaoke
Yes, he
parties and
does.
stuff, and your
He
wine
even sang
parties.
for me last time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And no, he's a fun guy, and I'm quite confident that when he was in university, while he's very serious about his profession or his pursuits, academic pursuits, I'm sure he was a fun guy. I'm quite confident in that.
Okay, I just wondered if he was more studious, the studious type.
Oh, for sure.
Well, yeah.
I think the other thing is, not to spend too much time talking about him, but he's always been like a straight A student. So he's just one of these guys that is always, it comes easier, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good for
So,
him.
anyways, we had a lovely weekend with his friend visiting, I guess our friend, and then we went to an academic birthday party on Saturday night. So it was a lot of academic fun. Yeah. So it was a pretty big weekend for socializing. I've noted, I don't know if you've noticed this, but since the pandemic, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but before the pandemic, there was like this momentum, of socializing and doing things and, always being out, going out for dinner, socializing, that sort of stuff. And then the pandemic hit and everything kind of came to a halt. And then I've just had... I've struggled to get that momentum back.
Yeah, I know you have.
One or two things a week, and I'm like, I just want to be at home in my fat pants.
I know. Every night ends with me at home in my fat pants, and it's.
I know,
so
and
happy.
you send me messages.
I send
we
you
should
messages.
talk about those.
I do send Mike messages when I've had my edible, my sleepy time edible. And then I have some really fantastic thoughts.
I think what we should do is we'll have an episode of playing some of your messages, because if I've already gone to bed or something and I don't get them until the morning, I listen to them as I'm on my way to work, and I'm shaking my head and laughing, thinking, this chick, man,
I know.
she's got some serious thoughts.
I know. But they do. They come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
when
they
you're
do.
High, and they're very intense. They're very
vivid
and
visceral.
Yep. And
vivacious.
Then, sure. I was gonna say on another tangent that when you're high, like just we should do a whole episode of songs you should listen to when you're high.
Yeah.
And then I can tell so many stories of things that happen to me when I'm high. Emotions that go through my body. Thoughts that go through my brain, like, is it time to masturbate?
Oh my God.
And how that whole thing goes. Sometimes successfully, often not. Sometimes I forget that I was thinking to do that.
Oh my God.
And in the midst of doing that, I'm just like, what was I doing? Oh, right, I was masturbating.
Oh my God.
I forgot.
Oh my God, Priya. Oh my God, I can't believe you just shared that. Okay. All right.
I share because I love the people.
Yeah.
I love our little listeners.
listeners. Listeners, tell us, Do you
Is it
do
too
edibles?
much? Oh, okay. I thought you were going to ask me if I'm oversharing.
There's another one. Yeah, no, but are there any other listeners that do edibles that think, oh, now it's time to masturbate, and then kind of lose their train of thought while they're masturbating? What was I doing? Oh, right. Yes.
It happens more. It happens often.
Wow.
Because the thought comes to your head, like, even though it's sleepy time CBD, it kind of is also sexy time CBD. Like, you just feel like, oh, I feel a little sexy. There ain't nobody here but me. What am I going to do? And then you start to do it, or you start to imagine doing, like, you fantasizing, whatever. And then it's just like your mind starts wandering. And then you're like, oh, what was I doing? All right, get that hand back down there.
Jesus. Oh, my God. We are not cutting this out.
All right.
All right, should we get into it?
Let's get into it. So we are in the middle of February, and this week we're talking about songs that give us all the shivers, the butterflies, the blushing cheeks as we talk about falling in love.
I have a feeling we're going to take kind of different approaches to this.
I found that interesting because you said that before we started recording. And I was thinking, well, I feel like we take a different approach to the podcast in general anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what you mean by that. So why don't you take it away and let's see.
Well, when I was thinking about this...
I completely disagree.
I've barely said anything. Hang on, let me drink my wine before I say my next thing.
You should have brought the bottle up. What are you going to do when that glass is done? We're going to pause. And you're going to go...
paused. So when I was thinking about this episode, I was thinking about the idea of falling in love.
Yeah.
And the experience of falling in love. And my own personal experience.
Right.
And how... falling in love with somebody that I was attracted to, what was that like, in my own development? Because as I've mentioned before, I came out late and there was a delayed experience for me around that, or a fear for me to act on my feelings when I was in the closet and when I was trying to deal with my sexuality. So the idea of falling in love and trying to think back from my own experience, I was thinking about the periods in my life where I'm not even going to say sexuality, but my kind of like tapping into those feelings. That's not even the right thing. That's not the right description. But I don't know. Okay, so let me ask you this question. Do you remember falling in love? And can you tell us like how old you were when that was happening? And
you mean for the first time?
Or we talked about first love last time, right? Like we know like you were in your teens, but even if we were to think about teens, like what was that experience like to fall in love and to go
like,
through
what does
that
it actually feel like?
Well, yeah, and also like the just the whole experience of falling in love and sharing that feeling with, your confidant, like your close friends, and talking about boys that you like, and that whole game of trying to get their attention and all those things,
I remember
right?
that very well, but not necessarily in the context of falling in love, because there are lots of times like that I was having crushes on people in high school, right? But I remember we'd be in class and I'd say, you'd have your friend or friends that knew that you liked that person and be like, is he looking at me? Or they'd say, he looked at you 4 times. And that was just like, oh my God. Oh my God, he's looking at me like he likes me. It was so pure and like so innocent, like the smallest things that made you just kind of get all giddy. Whereas I feel like sometimes in later life, you'd have to hit me over the head with a shovel and say, I like you, for me to kind of know that somebody was into me.
Yeah.
But back then we were just, I guess because, you're in high school, you're just going through puberty, you're going through all these feelings, your body is like changing, your hormones are all over the place, that everything is just like, it's just so new, but it's so electric. Like everything is just buzzing.
Well, yeah, and I would also think there's like you haven't had that kind of experience before. So you don't
Yeah.
have
You have no barometer.
there's no barometer or I was going to say baggage. Like there's no, you haven't,
True.
you haven't been
Yeah.
heartbroken. You haven't invested in a relationship, a significant relationship. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, tying the music into this
Okay.
for me, my approach to this was really thinking about, okay, well, what was the music? What were those eras and the music eras that kind of reminded me of when I started to recognize that, and it's probably after puberty, but recognize that.
Well, if you were in your 30s when you fell in love for the first time, I sure hope puberty had happened. I'm still waiting for it to happen to me,
Yeah.
but for most people, it's happened by then.
I definitely had hit puberty way before my 30s. But I was thinking more about the music. And when I started to kind of like really connect with those feelings outside of, when you're younger and you have close friends and you have feelings for your close friends, but you don't really think of it in, like you might quote unquote love them as your friends. So it's a different kind of love.
Yeah.
Right. But then when you get older and as you develop more mature emotions, then there's like you were just referencing that kind of confusion in adolescence, right? Like all these hormones and there's all this shit going on and you're like, okay, well, what the fuck does this mean? Like I'm feeling this now and I don't even know how to relate to this.
And I don't even know what that feeling is.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
Is that lust? Is that puppy love? Is that love? What is this feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that period for me, the music of that period was like, we talked about this in our movie episode, our soundtrack episode, the Pretty in Pink soundtrack and
John
the Breakfast
Hughes.
Club, John Hughes, all of that music and that whole era of
movies
and that whole thing,
the entertainment scene at that time. Yeah. It's very evocative for me too.
So that is when, for me, that's the kind of music I think about when I think about falling in love. But it's not just falling in love, but it's falling in love and it actually like there's something going on in my brain that, oh yeah, this is something different than, being a child and having a good friend or having friends and feeling close to those, like having that kind of, experience with your relationships. It was like, okay, this is a more developed sense of something and it's very confusing and I don't really understand it.
Yeah. Okay. I get that. I mean, I guess in a way, because you did mention that you hadn't fallen in love until you were kind of in your, around the age of 30, right?
Well, I had my first love.
Yes.
But I don't know if I would say I hadn't fallen in love before then. But in terms of being ready to be in a relationship with someone and be that vulnerable.
Right.
you know?
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think without talking too much about my first love, because we did all that in the last episode. How for me the song "Everything I Do It For You" really does just, it's like it just pulls me back.
Mm-hmm.
It just yanks me right out of my current life and plops me into my 16-year-old self. It's like crazy. But for me, the songs that I sort of thought about, they're actually from all over the place in terms of eras and also genres. So,
and when you were thinking about this episode and what you wanted to talk about, what was your approach?
I was just thinking of songs that when I hear them, they make me think of falling in love.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've fallen in love at different stages in my life. So, there are the more kind of young, innocent love where you don't even know how many ways life can tear you apart or all the pressures it can put on you, to the more mature loves, to the kind of just wide-eyed and innocent love. Even when you're even just a couple of years ago, I was kind of falling for somebody that I started dating and it was just unexpected and, really quick. And so it's different. There's different songs, but if I start from high school, I have to say "Crazy for You" by Madonna. That is a song that every time I hear it, it just pulls me back to high school and of all the different people that I kind of crushed on. So I don't know if we're talking about love and falling in love, but crushes at that time, they were kind of like love. It wasn't as you're saying, it wasn't the love that you experience as a grown
Adult. Yeah.
person where it's about compromise and it's about, figuring out what works for you guys as a couple and all of that. It was just emotion, pure emotion, just like this head rush of emotion. And every time I hear that song, I think of high school dances. And every year, like no matter if I was in a relationship or not in high school, every year at the high school dance, you're kind of like, oh, I hope that Isaac asks me to dance, or I hope that Adam asks me to dance, or I hope that, like there's always somebody. So that song really does kind of speak about falling in love at that time of my life.
Yeah, I wonder, are all of these songs related to romantic love?
Yeah, for me, because I did sort of take the approach that for Love Month, we're kind of focusing on romantic love.
Romance, yeah.
I don't think of that in my life. Like, I mean, I don't think of love as purely romantic, but were you thinking of it more broadly?
I hadn't really intentionally thought about that, but as I was thinking about love and falling in love, I was also thinking about things like, our dog, Riva.
Yeah.
And, Dawn and I, when we decided to get a dog and then we picked her out and how we fell in love with her.
Right.
That's a form of falling in love.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
It's obviously not romantic love, but then, there's these, sometimes you hear these songs that are tied to videos on Instagram and stuff like that about, dogs in recovery or that are being rescued or whatever, and I find those kinds of songs, those kind of tear jerky, pull at your heartstring songs, they to me are a bit evocative of, or remind me of, that kind of love.
Yeah. Well, because there's so many kinds of love, and we should do episodes about others. And I've been thinking about that too. But what are some of the songs that you had thought about for this episode?
Well, it really was more, I was thinking more about the kind of eras and the, Don't You Forget About Me.
Yeah.
And I also kind of got a little distracted and hung up on, and not like I wasn't being bitter about it. It was more thinking about how songs that remind you of love, or songs that are written about love, were for so long in my life, were written about a kind of love that I didn't think was attainable.
Right.
So
was that because of your sexuality, or because?
Yeah, okay. Because of the confusion around, me figuring out my sexuality, and because of that confusion, not knowing how to relate to those songs that were about love in a way that was about love. Right? Does that make sense?
It does, because now I'm at a place where, it's funny. I was thinking about this recently. I was thinking how when we started this podcast, I was talking a lot about how I kind of would love to have a partner. And it was a really big want and a big kind of missing piece of my life. And I have to say, I'm kind of over that now.
You got me. You got
I got podcast.
You got our listeners.
It's true. And I think that, yeah, you're exactly right, though. You're joking, but it's so true. It's like when you have a full life, I feel like there's so much pressure in society to have a romantic partner.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, oh my God.
What's wrong
Why
with
are
you?
you so single? Why,
You're so pretty. Why are you single?
Yeah, like how old are you? Time is ticking, or just the things people say and the pressures they put on. It's like, but why is that the only kind of love that is important? Or that stands above everything else? So,
but then don't you think, like, if these love songs are all seen through the lens of that kind of, that type of love, like romantic love, I do wonder if, because, do you ever listen to a song? I just did it. I started a thought and I ended myself. Do you ever listen to a song and think, this song is about this? But then depending on the mood you're in or what you might be thinking about, you're like, oh, this could actually relate to something else.
Yes.
Right?
However, if you ask me for an example of that now, I couldn't give you one. But 100%, because a lot of the times when I listen to a song, I'm listening to it and I'm enjoying the melody. I'm enjoying the beat. And I'm not necessarily listening to the lyrics in
I'm
depth.
not going to repeat this in 2.5 minutes.
Please don't. If our little listeners get that reference, it's because...
Our listeners know.
Yep, he's just smiling and nodding. I think about the fact that yes, there are songs that sometimes when I listen to them in a different context, it's like,
but you just listen to the melody and blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
You don't.
And then you hear the lyrics and you're like, oh, that's what this song is about. And it could be about XYZ too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. However, like for the songs that I've picked here, now I'm looking at some of the lyrics I've isolated, and I don't think that any of these could. Well, you know what? That's not true. That's not true. There are some like, okay, one of the songs I picked was Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol.
Oh, yeah.
I love that song so much.
Sing a few bars.
I don't know how to say.
Oh, right. Yeah.
How I feel.
Yeah.
If I lay here.
If I just lay here. Will you lay with me
and just forget the world?
Right, yeah.
I
Was that
love
in
that.
Grey's Anatomy?
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
at the end of one of their episodes.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful song. It's really just about just being with the one person
Mm-hmm.
and just watching the world go by. But you know, if I think about that, like sometimes I'm with a friend and it's just such a perfect moment.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So why couldn't it be about that kind of bond?
Experience, yeah. That
Yeah.
song be about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never thought of that song like that, but
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm reading some of the lyrics, although when it says those three words are said too much, they're not enough. I love that. I love that sentiment.
I love
Because
you.
it's true. People say that all the time and they say it as such a tossed away.
Mm.
You know, it's like, I love you. And they'll say that to just like somebody at work or something. Have a good day. I love you. It's like, really? But do you really like
Love you.
We just use those words
Yeah.
as such.
So do you think those words should be kept for different, like, do you think people should be, hold on to those words and not say them unless they really mean it?
I just think like they lose their meaning and the depth of meaning if we just say it to anyone and everyone.
Mm-hmm. But that can be said about anything.
I guess so.
Like any words. I think context makes a difference too. And
Yeah.
I think it's also perhaps, we're conditioned to think about the three words I love you as being this, incredibly romantic,
Yes.
meaningful, sweep me off my feet, heart palpitations kind of experience, right? But I don't know if that's necessarily.
I think that's probably true though at the beginning, right? Or the first time you say it to somebody.
Yeah.
Because it's so vulnerable.
Yeah. I think so that's my point right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think by saying them outside of a deep, meaningful, candles burning and rose petals kind of experience that they lose their meaning. I think it is about context.
Right.
And so it's also perhaps how you say it and when you say it that also impacts the meaning
I
of
agree with
those
that.
words.
Yeah, I just mean, I think in general, we toss those words around
Mm-hmm.
to people and situations that are just kind of not really, that I don't think if we sat and thought about like, oh, do I really love that person?
Mm-hmm,
Like, it's not, it's just things.
It's like
sometimes
sometimes
it's just
when
words.
you call me bitch, do you really call?
I-
When you say
but I
when you
do
call me a
mean that.
bitch, do you really mean it?
But I do. And
You
in
do?
so many different ways, I mean it. Sometimes
Bitch?
like that and sometimes bitch.
Yeah. I don't
it
think I hear
changes.
those. That's usually say that after I've left the room
or after I've
something.
left your place. I'm like,
Yeah.
that fucking bitch.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I never fucking bit. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? Did I say that out loud? Anyway, so you don't have any specific songs.
No, I don't. I don't have any specific songs. No,
So
it's more genres.
Let's see what you think about some of these
Yeah.
songs. Because like I said, like I kind of went across genres and just decades. Because one of the songs I really love is Something by the Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that song?
I don't know.
Something in the way.
Oh yeah, she moves.
Attracts me like no other lover. It's so, that song to me, it really is about just like that person
Mm-hmm.
that has captured has become everything to me. It's just like I love everything about them. And I think the lyrics of that are so beautiful
Mm-hmm.
in just talking about it's this person and these are the things I love about this person.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it could be an interchangeable person. I love that song. And just the melody is so sweet and beautiful and quite simple, but lovely. And then let's go to Speechless by Dan and Shay. Do you know that song?
Don't know that one. Dan and
think
Shay, are they Canadian?
No, they're an American country duo.
Oh.
Do you not know them? You do definitely know them. They sang a duet with, or what would you call it if it's two people and then another person? A triplet? You wouldn't call it a triplet. They sang a duet with Justin Bieber, 10,000 Miles. It's been 10,000. No,
Yeah,
it's been
yeah.
10,000 hours.
Yeah.
10,000 more. They have some great music, but this one is, it again, it's just about like kind of watching their, I think they're talking about their wives or something. So the lyrics that I isolated here, I'm speechless, staring at you standing there in that dress. What it's doing to me ain't a secret. And it's like I've been in a daze ever since the day that we met. That's what to me like falling in love is. Like just kind of being like, how is it even possible that I feel this intense emotion for somebody and they feel it back for me? Because what are the possibilities of that happening, right? So I just think that song is quite beautiful talking about that.
You've had that kind of love, that kind of experience?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think every time I've fallen in love, it's been like
There's
that.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's perhaps one of the appeals of songs being about love is that they do relate to those powerful moments. Oh yeah, remember how we felt when we first met, when we first, were dating or
that
whatever
falling,
those.
that idea of just falling and feeling all those emotions and just being like, oh my God, it's reciprocal. Snow on the Beach by Taylor. I know you know this.
Snow on the beach, weird and fucking beautiful.
Flying in a dream, stars by
the pocketful.
You wanting me tonight feels impossible, but it's coming down. No sound. It's all around. That's what, I mean, I think that song really does sum up what it is to fall in love. It's just like, like snow on the beach. That idea too. It's just a juxtaposition of, it's snowing, but you're on the beach. Whereas when you think of the beach, it's just like, it should just be sunshine and summer. But now it's like we're in this weird kind of magical moment. And that's what I kind of feel like falling in love is all about.
Yeah. How do you hold on to that feeling? And, because there's so many songs that are written about love and so many songs that are about that kind of like powerful feeling of falling in love. And yet we know as humans that it's not sustainable, right? Like you just can't feel that all the time. But then I think perhaps the jaded part of me also feels a bit like we're being sold a bit of a false narrative here because it's like, oh, but if you just think about the song that you got married to or whatever, right? And it's a bit like, is it all surface and, smoke and mirrors?
Let me ask you then, when you think about your wedding song, like, or when you hear it, like, do you and Dawn ever just put it on and listen to it?
Okay, so when Dawn and I got married, I don't know if you remember our wedding. We had, at the beginning, we had that live musical trio, and then they sang us into the ceremony.
Right.
And our wedding song was Sky Full of Stars by Coldplay.
Okay.
Do you know that song?
I don't sing it.
You're a sky full of stars.
Okay.
I want to die in your arms.
Yes.
Yeah. And what's funny about that is when Nicole and Matt said that they were getting married, I sent that song to Matt saying, this should be your wedding song.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But anyways.
Did they get married before you or after?
Yeah. Oh, shit. That's our timer.
Wow.
Yeah, so we had that song as our wedding song, the Coldplay song. And then for the other song, Dawn rewrote the lyrics to Kelly Clarkson's My Life Would Suck Without You.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and had the singer in the trio sing that song.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did people know that? Like, did you mention that at the...
No, I don't think we mentioned it. No. And I don't even know if people knew who Kelly Clarkson was or whatever. But
I'm sure
they knew, but that was a Kelly Clarkson song that they were singing. So Don is a very romantic guy. And he always writes me a poem on our anniversary.
Aww.
And the poem is always tied to some, I honestly, I'm so bad because it's like, oh, well, this is a sonnet and this is a blah, blah, blah. Right. And so there's always like a structure to the poem.
Okay.
And it's usually by the number, depending on what our anniversary is.
Okay.
It'll be, based on the number of years we've been together. And last year for Valentine's Day, was it last year or the year before? Oh, it was during the pandemic. Yeah.
Okay.
So the lead singer of Stars, a band that we like,
Yes.
they had put out on Twitter that they would write a song for you. And if you wanted, then you could write into them and give them some information, and they'd write a song for you. And Dawn did that for me for Valentine's Day.
Did you tell us the story? I don't know if you told it on the podcast, but I remember hearing a little bit about this. I love this.
Yeah, and so it took them a long time because they ended up getting, I guess, more requests than they thought. So it was on our anniversary that I actually got it. Yeah. So I bring those things up because yes, when I think of our wedding song, and I hear that when I hear Coldplay or Kelly Clarkson, and really any Kelly Clarkson song will remind me of that. I think about these romantic gestures that my husband made towards, our relationship and me. And there is that kind of romantic piece there. And then that he, got a song written and so they wrote the song and they sing it.
Yeah, because I don't think it's sustainable. I was talking about my friends who are still together from high school, and I just saw her posting something for his birthday, and you can just tell, they're just
going through the motions,
giddy in love.
Oh, okay.
They're just giddy in love. The total opposite of what you're saying.
Yeah.
But those kinds of couples, and I think those kinds of relationships are not so common. So it takes work, right? And and love changes and grows and, ebbs and flows. And sometimes you're not feeling it so much and then it comes back stronger. So, but I do find that it's amazing how sometimes just thinking about a memory can put you right back in that spot in that moment.
Yeah. Well, and that's really what music does, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we've talked about so much. All right. I'm going to play a little bit of this song.
Long train from Kennedy, met on a bike, and a road to eternity. It was hard at first sight, no pressure beginnings, birthday visit to the Golden State, and our love is winning. Under pillows of our hearts, the ginger and the man of books. Our past and our future are filled with the sun. May it go on and on and on.
It's a sweet song.
Yeah. So what they did was they asked us to send information in about us, and then they took that information and put the lyrics together. And so, that's the beginning of the song. And, when Dawn and I met, we met through a cycling event. Dawn and Mike met on a bike. And then he went to California for a sabbatical. And the other thing that Dawn does all the time, and he's been doing this for 17 years, whenever he goes away, he always leaves little notes somewhere. And so sometimes they'll be under my pillow. Sometimes I'll open the coffee to make coffee and there'll be a note in there.
Aww.
So he does these romantic gestures. And so we shared all of that. And then they wrote the song. So
That's
it's really
amazing.
quite sweet. Yeah.
It is very sweet, that they spent the time to create these songs for people. I wonder how many they did.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So.
And they're one of your favorite bands.
Yes, they are. Yeah. So it was, and he did all this, he didn't tell me that this was happening until after the fact when.
What a romantic.
Yeah. I know.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, folks, that is all she wrote for this week. And as always, we would love to hear from you. Tell us your stories, your, songs that remind you of falling in love.
Yeah. What are your stories of falling in love, people?
Yeah.
And what are the songs that remind you of those falling in love moments?
That's exactly what I just said.
Is it?
That's exactly what I just said, Mike.
Okay.
Anyways, how can they reach out to us, Mike?
Did you really just say that?
I really did.
How did I miss that? Oh my God. I really need to listen to you more. Okay, how can they do that? They can contact us on Instagram, and our handle is The Little Podcast. That's the LIITL podcast. And they can also contact us on Gmail. And how do they do that, Bria?
lifeisinthelyrics@gmail.com.
That's right.
And our shameless request is to give us a like, folks, a follow. Share us with someone you love because it's Love Month. And hey, maybe even subscribe.
Yeah. If you love us, subscribe to us.
Yeah.
Even if you don't love us. But if you're starting to feel that love.
Yeah. And we're the love that'll keep on giving. So, subscribe and we'll keep it coming at you, folks.
Unless Priya's had her her edible and then she loses focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she'll come back.
I'll come back eventually. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.
May it go on and on and on. It will go on and on and on. May it go on.
Well, folks, this month is all about love, but we all know that you can't have a perfect love, and sometimes there's some heartbreak in there. So next week, tune in because, Mike, what are we talking about?
We talking about cheating.
We talking about them
Dirty,
cheating hearts.
rotten cheaters.
Yeah.
Sometimes, well, actually, you'll have to tune in because we'll find out. Are we the cheaters?
Right.
Have we been cheated on?
Ooh, I've got songs that represent all the directions.
All the angles of cheating?
All the angles.
Great. Okay. Tune in, people.
Tune